Okay, just copying. I'm just posting this just so everyone can see it. How y'all doing tonight? Just getting everything ready, and then we are gonna start doing some shots. Can everybody hear me? Okay. All right, all good. All right, I'm just gonna give it another minute so people can start coming in. Yo, how's it going? It's a Friday night going into a holiday. I'm going on vacation this week, actually leaving tomorrow. So I'm trying not to get too drunk. We will see. But I think I'll get started. So yeah, this is just kind of like a little anniversary stream. I've been making videos for YouTube now for a year. It's kind of hard to believe it's been a year. Yeah, I'm going on vacation tomorrow for a week. It'll be my last vacation for a little while. Yeah, it's insane to think it's been a year because it doesn't feel like it's been, and that I've made as many videos as I have. I didn't think I would that my output was going to be what it has been, and technically it kind of has slowed a little bit only because I'm taking more time to make some of these videos. Hey, what's up, C-Line? How you doing, dude? And yeah, it's taken a little bit longer to make the videos because they're longer than they were before, and because I also have a full-time job on top of this, it kind of makes it a little exhausting. So I have to take breaks occasionally to kind of unwind. I'm doing good. I'm doing good. We're gonna get started. I'm gonna be starting off with a couple shots. I'm not really a big fan of shots, but the standard is like the Bailey shots, and I've made a few of them before. I wanted to start making a B52, which is equal parts Bailey's, Kahlua, and Grand Marnier. And I wanted to make that, but then I also wanted to try using like a different coffee liqueur and see how that changes it, if it changes it. I have a feeling that the Bailey's is kind of just overpower everything, but we'll see. So I'm not even going to use like one of my little measurers here. It's kind of just easy to do with the eye. So it's equal parts. So it's like 1/3 of an ounce, which is like between 7.5 and like 15 milliliters. So I'm just gonna again do it a little bit to eye. That should be good. So 1/3 of Kahlua. I don't mind beer shots. I'm honestly not the biggest fan of them. I feel like it's kind of a lazy way to make a beer cocktail. And it's funny because one of the alcohol YouTube channels that I follow, How to Drink, just made a video yesterday on beer cocktails where he said the same thing. So I found that kind of funny. So then 1/3 of Grand Marnier. This is an orange liqueur that's made from cognac, so it's pretty sweet. And then lastly, a third of Bailey's, and you usually add this last because it's the most dense, so it tends to float on the top. And in this case, it didn't. Cool. But regardless, it's equal parts, so it's pretty easy to remember the recipe. So this is the B52, and honestly, it does not look good, but we'll see. Cheers. It's okay. To be completely honest, this makes me think of medicine. I don't know why it does, but it does. It kind of just makes me think of like rubbing alcohol a little bit. I'm not the biggest fan of this. As I was saying, I want to see how this works with a different coffee liqueur. Specifically one that's not quite as sweet as Kahlua. So I'm going to use Mr. Black for this. This is a cold brew coffee liqueur. It's probably my favorite coffee liqueur. And I'm just kind of curious if I swap Kahlua with this, how it's going to be. It's going to be less sweet and more approachable. We'll see. Okay, so once again, I'm going to do it the same way. I'm going to do equal parts. So 1/3 of an ounce of Mr. Black cold brew coffee liqueur. And I'm hoping that the sweetness from the Bailey's is going to give it that sweetness that it needs to make it not overly sweet. And coffee and orange already is a great pairing, so I understand why that works. Okay, 1/3 of an ounce of Grand Marnier. Oh, you did find a place that sells Mr. Black. Yeah, I highly recommend you give it a shot. It's very good. They have a couple other ones that I also have. There's a single origin, which is, I forget. I think it's from like I think it's from like Jamaica or something. But there's another one too that's from like another southern country. They're both really good. Okay, let's try the Bailey's with that. Alright, so this is a B52 using Mr. Black as opposed to Kahlua. So, cheers. Ooh. Ooh, wow. That's it's very different. Immediately, the cold brew coffee is the most dominant flavor there, and it is definitely a lot better in my opinion. Because with the Kahlua, I think it's just too sweet. This brings it down more. It's still sweet because of the Bailey's, but now it just tastes like a coffee shot, which is great. This is kind of what I was looking for. So I'm actually really happy that this worked the way it did. And I don't make these shots very often, like rarely. But if I was going to again, I'd probably just use this over Kahlua. And then there's another shot that I was going to try. That's it's called the Snickers Shot. And I think I made this in another video like a while back. And this one is, let me just double check the recipe. This one is, yeah, okay, so this one's equal parts Kahlua, Frangelico, and Bailey's. So how black is Mr. Black? So it's cold brew black coffee, so it is gonna be a lot more bitter than like a standard coffee liqueur, but it does have some sweetness to it. And I personally like using something like this because I don't like using something that's too sweet, I prefer to add my own sweetener if needed to help balance it out more, which is why I usually will have like my simple syrups and stuff like that. If you need to make a drink sweeter, I recommend you just use like a simple syrup to help offset that instead of getting something that's already too sweet, because it's going to throw off the balance of your cocktails. So the Snickers Shot. So it's Frangelico, Kahlua, and Bailey's. And I kind of wanted to experiment with this one the same way to see the difference between using Mr. Black and using Kahlua, because I'm interested to see how it's going to be. Frangelico is a hazelnut liqueur, and it is also very sweet. In place of Marnier. So I'm interested to see how it's going to be. So here is Frangelico. It's a very awesome looking bottle. I kind of wish I still had the tassel, because it's supposed to be it's supposed to look like a friar, which is a really nice shaped bottle. And I very rarely use this because there's not too many cocktails that call for hazelnut liqueur. So I'm gonna do these both at the same time, and I'm gonna try them both essentially simultaneously to see, or one right after the other to see how they're gonna compare. So, 1/3 of an ounce of Kahlua. Alright. 1/3 of an ounce here of Mr. Black. Okay. That's good. And a little more. There we go. Alright. And then same thing on both sides, 1/3 of an ounce of Frangelico. Okay. Good. All right, and then top it with Bailey's. And we'll see how this is going to be, how these are going to compare. Okay, so maybe a little bit here, just to make it even. Cool. All right, so move these aside. Oh, I just realized my microphone has not been on this entire time. I apologize. Diving right into cocktails and didn't even wear my microphone. Okay, so left-hand side is the Kahlua. The right-hand side is Mr. Black. All right, cheers. Oh, that's too sweet. That's really, whoa, that's way too sweet. Oh, I'm not a fan of this. Like, I really like Frangelico, so it's pretty sad that it's kind of, it is the most dominant flavor here. It's just too sweet. This is something I feel like needs to be watered down or something, because it's not good. Ugh, God, it's gross. Okay, I'm hoping the one with Mr. Black is better, because that was disgusting. All right, bottoms up. Excuse me. Oh, okay. It's slightly better. Still not good. The difference in this one versus the B52 is a lot smaller. I mean, it's definitely not as sweet, so it's more tolerable. It is rough. It's gross, honestly. I would say that the B52 version with Mr. Black is more approachable. This is not. This is fucking disgusting. It's gross. Not a fan. All right, so now, next what I wanted to do is, last time when I did one of these streams, I was walking through like a different types of whiskey. Let me quickly put these away so they're out of sight. Okay. All right, last time I was kind of walking through different whiskeys and I sampled different Irish whiskeys, and there was one that I really wanted to give you some tasting notes on the stream. And I thought I had it, but I actually ran through it because I drink a lot of it, and by that I mean in terms of Irish whiskey, this is probably my favorite that I've had, and I featured this in my If Found video. So I was kind of sad when I did my last stream because I didn't get a chance to actually do it on stream, but I did pick up a bottle recently. It's right here. This is the Dead Rabbit Irish whiskey. It is made by a bar that is in New York that I haven't been to yet, that I've been meaning to go to, but because of COVID and lockdown, I wasn't able to. They just recently opened up, so I'm actually really excited to get this. So I know they sell the Dead Rabbit at Total Wine, so if you have a Total Wine near you, I'd recommend you try that. I don't know if you'll have much luck on like the apps like Drizzly, but it kind of depends on where you're at. It is still kind of new. It just came out tail end of last year, so it just might not be by you yet. But I'd say keep an eye out for it. It's really good, especially if you like bourbon. This is very reminiscent of that, of like a bourbon, which is what I like about it a lot. So I'm gonna pour myself some Irish whiskey. Also, real quick, I love that. Any bottle that will have a unique design or has a sound like that, I just love that sound. Oh, so you're in South Jersey. Okay. I'd say if you're up near North Jersey at any point, they definitely have it by us in like Total Wines. Because I'm in North Jersey, just outside New York. And I've definitely seen it a lot. But yeah, really recommend it if you can find it. See, immediately, one of the great things about Irish whiskey is the baking spices smell that you get, which is very approachable. Yeah, it's like spicy but not hot spicy, right? It's like you get spices from like bread. It's very sweet but not overly sweet. It's a great sipper. I don't really need any ice with this. I usually just pour it into one of these and just drink it straight over a period of time. It's amazing. I love this Irish whiskey. I use it for all of my Irish coffees that I make, which I haven't made too many recently because it's kind of hot right now. Yeah, I recommend if you are up in North Jersey to check it out. The one I go to is in River Edge, and they definitely have them there. Because I just went there within the past week because I was looking for different stuff just for this stream, but also for to help replenish parts of my bar. And while I was there, I looked for it, and they had bottles, so they definitely still sell it there. Oh God, that's good. Yeah, so it's hard to believe it's been a full year. I have kind of, when I first started, I didn't really know where I was going to take this channel. I kind of just modeled it after other cocktail channels I was watching. And I quickly found that I didn't really like just making videos where I made cocktails and that's it. Uh, so then I kind of experimented with a couple other videos where I did essentially reviews on games, on anime, etc. And then I made cocktails inspired by them. And I liked that a lot more. It also gave me a little bit of structure, which I like. I kind of like writing scripts for videos. So if you're not familiar with my process, it usually is I will think of a series or a video game or something like that I want to talk about, and then I'll think about, can I make a cocktail out of it? How can I do a spin on it? And then I'll spend some time working on a cocktail if I can make one. If I can't, then I'll usually abandon it. I have several videos that I've actually started working on previously that I completely abandoned because I just couldn't make them work. But the ones that do go through, I will think of a cocktail, how can I make it work? And then I'll start writing a script for it. And then after the script is finished, I'll record, and then I spend the next few days editing. So it's usually within 7 to 10 days that I'll work on a video and put it out there. Except for the last one, which took a little over 2 weeks. Because the Berserk video was interesting. I'd planned to make a video on Berserk for a while, for months. But after, the night that I found out Mira passed away, which was, I saw it basically in Discord, and I spent like the whole night just like listening to Guts' theme. And afterwards I was like, I need to make a cocktail for this. And I still intended to make a video, but I was like, I need to make a cocktail. So I spent some time working on it, and I knew I wanted to make something strong, and that was the second cocktail that's in that video. And then afterwards, I planned on writing the script for it. I started kind of doing a little research. I went back and started reading some of the manga to kind of refresh myself on things that I'd forgotten. And I started writing the script, and initially, it was one of those things that was difficult, that I wrote the first part of it, and I stopped because I got tired. I got, like, it was difficult to finish it. So I just put it down, and I walked away from it for like a day or two. And then I came back, and I wrote the whole rest of it in one sitting. I reviewed it, obviously, over the next couple days, made some edits to it, but I kind of just plowed the whole thing out in like a day or two, because this is kind of how a lot of my scripts work, is once I get into them, I write, and I usually don't stop until I'm finished. And then once I am finished, I will go back and change things around, edit some stuff. But for the most part, usually me writing it's like a whole thing. I spend the whole time writing, and then once I'm done, I go back and edit, and I'm done. I'm ready to start recording. So that's how it was with this video. I spent a couple days writing I spent a good solid day writing like a good chunk of the script. Once I was finished, I was ready to record, and I knew when I was writing it that this was not going to be something I could finish in a week, which is usually what my turnaround is. So because I didn't want to push myself beyond, like, I knew it was going to be too difficult, I gave myself 2 weeks. I did the whole skeleton of the video in 1 week, and then the second week I went and edited it and added all the clips and everything. And overall, is there things I would tweak in it? Sure, but I'm pretty satisfied with it. It's the longest video I've ever made, not counting like the last stream I did. I don't count that, because that's me just uploading a video that I'm doing live. But that was the longest amount of time I've spent editing a video, and overall I'm very proud of it. Which is why, like, this week I was like, I want to take a break, refresh myself. I'm going to do a stream, and then, I'm taking next week off because I'll be on vacation. I'll spend some time on the plane writing through the next couple scripts, And then once I come back, I'll be fresh and ready to kind of tackle the next couple of videos that I already kind of have planned. There's a couple that I've already wanted to tackle that I just haven't had the time to. There's one I've been meaning to do for about a month. I just haven't had the time to kind of finish the research I needed for it yet. So yeah, I mean, that's usually how my process works. Okay, so I want to make a cocktail. And the cocktail I want to make is actually similar to the one that I made on the Berserk video, but this is the original cocktail. So this is the last word. The last word, the original version is 4 equal parts of a specific spirit or specific spirits. And as I mentioned on that video, it's a template. So a lot of cocktails were inspired by it and were branched off it, but they all follow the same pattern where it's 4 equal parts of the same, of different spirits that kind of follow a similar pattern. So the last word, let me just pull up that recipe real quick. Okay, so the last word is 4 equal parts, as I said. It's 3/4 of an ounce of gin, green chartreuse, maraschino liqueur, and lime juice. And then it's garnished with a brandy cherry, so a maraschino cherry. And it's a very powerful cocktail, but it's also surprisingly good. And I have all that liqueur. So I'm actually gonna use aviation gin for this. Green chartreuse, maraschino liqueur, and then lime juice. So it's pretty straightforward to make. It is a shaking cocktail, so apologies for the noise. So 3/4 of an ounce. So I'm going to start with the gin. You can use really any gin you want, though I would recommend like a London Dry gin. And the aviation isn't technically London Dry, but it's basically London Dry. Okay, 3/4. Put this one back. 3/4 of maraschino liqueur, which this is actually not, it doesn't taste like cherries. It's more, I guess, herbal is the best way I could describe it. Okay. And then 3/4 of an ounce of green chartreuse. So this is definitely herbal. And this is the stronger of the two. There's a green chartreuse and a yellow chartreuse. The yellow is a little sweeter. This one's 55%. The yellow, I think, is like 47, maybe. Ooh, that's a little too much. All right, yellow. Close enough. And then 3/4 of lime juice. Okay. And I'm going to add some ice and give it a shake for 12 seconds. All right. Just crack this a little bit more. Okay. All right. All right. Then I'm going to strain it into a Nick and Nora glass. Perfect. And then you're supposed to garnish it with a brandy cherry. So these maraschino cherries work perfect. Where's my... There they are. Okay. Come on. Come on. There we go. I got it. All right. And there is the last word. Cheers. Yeah, this cocktail is very strong. Not just in ABV, but also in taste. It's very herbal because of the green chartreuse and the maraschino liqueur. The lime juice adds a little bit of sourness, but overall it's a very powerful herbal cocktail. So if you're into that kind of thing, you'll love this. What I liked about my version a little bit more is it's a little sweeter. It's herbal, but it's kind of like a combination of sweet and herbal. It's a little... because you use a rye whiskey, it gives it kind of like a bread taste, but like a sweet bread with like some herbal notes. It's very good. Whereas this version is fine, but it's kind of something I don't think I could drink a lot of. This is something that's probably going to end your night because it's so strong. The green chartreuse alone just adds 55%. And then you have the gin, which depending on your gin could be strong. The lime juice is there, but it's kind of just providing some sourness. Versus like my version that I think works a little bit better. So give me 1 second. I think mine used lemon juice. I sometimes forget because I make so many of these while I'm doing tests. Okay. So, yeah, lemon juice. Okay. Rye whiskey, Amaro di Angostura, lemon juice, and Benedictine. The rye whiskey alone is 100 proof, so it's still going to be strong, but it's different. It's very different in terms of how it's going to taste. Benedictine is another herbal liqueur, so that kind of is where you get your herbal notes from, as opposed to the green chartreuse. But Benedictine is, I think, 40. Yeah, it's 40% versus this, which is 55. So because this isn't as strong, it's not the prevalent flavor. Instead, you get the sweetness from the rye whiskey more than the herbal notes. And then there's the lemon juice and the Amaro di Angostura. So where is this? I think I moved it. Oh, here it is. Okay. This is an Amaro, so it is herbally, but it's also kind of bitter. But it's only 35%, so it's nowhere near as bitter as something like a green chartreuse. So this version, I'm going to make this just to kind of compare the two, because I haven't done this before. As in, I haven't compared the two. I'll do the green chartreuse, the Benedictine first. It doesn't really matter. It's all gonna get shaken up. Okay. Then the Amaro, 3/4. Then the rye whiskey, another 3/4. Okay. And then lastly, the lemon juice. I use lemon juice because it works a lot better with rye whiskey. You don't usually use lime juice with a whiskey. It doesn't really pair as well. Okay, so I'm going to add some ice. Ooh. There we go. And shake it up. All right. All right. All right. So you'll immediately notice that my one has a very different color. Mainly because there's no green chartreuse, there's no lime juice. The Amaro is a dark color combined with the rye whiskey and the Benedictine. So it's gonna make this look more orangey brownish. And this one is also garnished with a maraschino cherry. Come on. All right. I'm lazy, so I'm going to do it the easy route. Or not so easy. Come on. Wow. This does not want to get on. All right, screw you. This is what's going to happen. There we go. Cool. All right, so here's my version. This is the Journey's End, the one that I made during the Berserk video. This is a lot more approachable. I'd say if you like whiskey sours, you'll probably like this because you get those kind of like bitter notes that you get when you actually have a proper whiskey sour where they do like a little bit of dashes, or not even dashes, like drops of Angostura bitters. It is definitely more bitter than a whiskey sour, but it's far more approachable than this. So comparing the two, very herbal, herbally. I don't know the correct terminology. It's herbal. A lot more tart, a lot less sweet. It's good, but I can see why people have made a lot of variations based off of this, of the 4 equal part cocktails. And while I was doing my research, I started with what do I like usually when I make cocktails? Well, I like whiskey. I like rye whiskey and I like bourbon. There's not a boatload of bourbon 4-part cocktails that I found would work with what I wanted to do. But rye whiskey works very well with the ingredients that I was trying to do. So it works well with bitter cocktails or bitter alcohols. And then I kind of, at random, picked Benedictine to work with the Amaro because I know that rye whiskey and Amaro worked. And then I just did it for the first time when I recorded, and it just happened to work. A lot sweeter. The Amaro notes kind of, it's almost like it provides a subtle coffee taste, which is very good. This is something where if someone made this for me at a bar, I would totally just like enjoy it for like the next 30 minutes and then order another one because it's a lot more pleasant than this. So I was really happy when I stumbled upon this and I tried it out for the first time. I was like, this is great. So yeah, it's a great cocktail. Highly recommend you give it a try if you can. It's just 4 equal parts. Amaro di Angostura, Benedictine, a rye whiskey, which I recommend you get one that's like 100 proof because it'll stand up to the rest of the ingredients. And then lemon juice. That's it. It's just 4 parts. And then you can garnish it with your cherry. You don't have to. It's just kind of for flourish, but it's amazing. I'm going to go back to this. Oh, still really good. Whew. Okay, starting to feel it. I did have 4 shots, plus I tried a little bit of that. I've had some of that, and I've had some of this. So yeah. Give me one sec. Anyway, yeah, so I've gotten pretty much with every one of my videos when I go to make them, I typically like request for ideas for any other future videos that I'm going to make. Some of them I do look into. So one of the videos I made a while back was for bartender, and I actually had never even heard of the series until it was mentioned in one of the comments for one of my videos, which is surprising because a series about a bartender, it's just an anime about a bartender, right, who makes cocktails. I don't know how the hell I've never heard of that series before. But when I heard of it, I downloaded it. I think I had other things I was watching at the time, so I didn't get a chance to watch it right away. And then I watched it and I marathoned through the whole series in like 2 days. And I was like, this is great. I got to make a video on this. And I think that was one of my, I think that was like my 10th or 11th video. I don't even remember. And it's actually like one of my most popular ones, which is surprising because I've gone back and watched it and I was like, I still wasn't used to doing videos back then. And I'm still not quite used to it 100% now. But it's weird going back and watching those earlier videos and just being like, wow, I still was not used to the camera at all. And it definitely helps after like having a couple drinks, you start to relax, but that's not going to help if I'm trying to read a script. Because if you haven't noticed, usually when I go to do my videos, I print out a script and I read the script during the video. I don't record after the fact. When I'm recording in front of the camera, when I'm making the cocktails and everything like that, I'm reading the script as part of this. So it's all in essentially one take. Yeah, I mean with edits, obviously. So there's very few times where I go back and re-record over. There are a couple times where something happens. Sometimes the audio gets screwed up, and I have to. But for the most part, it's all kind of self-contained. So yeah, it's insane that it's been an entire year since I first started the channel. When I first started this, I did it kind of just to share some cocktail ideas with people. I didn't think it was going to turn to a channel about me reviewing different video games or shows and then me making cocktails inspired by them. Didn't think it was going to end up like that. But yeah, if you guys have any requests for anything, let me know. I'll make them during this period. I'm not trying to get too wasted tonight because I have to get up really early tomorrow morning because I have a flight. But I'm not too drunk yet. So if you want me to make something, let me know. I definitely intend to at least make one old fashioned during this stream, just because the old fashioned is my favorite cocktail and I love making that. Speaking of the devil, I did this during my last stream, but I'm going to kind of bring it up again. Something with rum. Something with rum. That would be good. Okay. I would love to make a rum. You know what? I'm going to make... So I know I've made it before. Not on my channel, but I know I've made a rum old fashioned before. Because one of my favorite cocktails is actually a Cuba Libre, which is it's a rum and coke. It's a rum and coke with like lime wedges. But barring that, a rum old fashioned is a fantastic drink. Yep, dark rum. Yep. Hold on a sec. Okay, cool. We can do this. Okay, cool. So, if you're going to make a rum old fashioned, I recommend you use like something like this, which is a Demerara rum. It's Eldorado 12 year. It's fantastic, and it's really easy to make. One of the great things about old fashions is it's similar to like the last word. It's a template. You can swap out the base liquor, which is usually like bourbon, with something else. In the case of rum old fashioned, it's rum. So basically, you have like rum, Demerara simple syrup, which is just Demerara sugar, usually equal parts Demerara sugar and water that you dissolve. I usually make a 2-to-1, so it's 2 parts sugar, 1 part water. It's a little sweeter and it lasts longer in the fridge. You usually do like 2 ounces of this, a bar spoon of this, a dash of Angostura bitters, and like a dash of orange bitters, and that's about it. It's a very simple cocktail, but you'd be surprised how good it is, how something so simple is just works so well. Again, great sound. I love that sound. Pour that out. This is 2 ounces of Demerara rum. This is Eldorado 12 year. Okay. And then a bar spoon of Demerara simple syrup. Just gonna, there we go. I'm gonna leave this as is because I'm gonna stir it in a moment. Okay. And then a dash of Angostura bitters. And let me just see. Oh, well, they're calling for 2. All right, I'll do 2. 2 dashes of Angostura bitters. And then 2 dashes of orange bitters. If you don't know what Angostura or orange bitters are. Bitters are essentially the salt and pepper of the cocktail world, especially Angostura bitters. If you're gonna get any kind of bitters, get this. There's a lot of cocktails that have this included in the recipes. It's not that expensive. You can get it virtually every liquor store, ShopRite's, a lot of grocery stores sell it because even though it's actually 44.7% alcohol, it's in a dasher bottle, so it's harder to get out. I don't know why they sell it there, but you can get it pretty much anywhere. And then you just add like a big ice cube, which got this big sucker, Jesus. And stir it for like 30 seconds. All right. I think this is usually garnished with an orange peel, unless I'm mistaken. Yeah. Which I do have oranges. So give me one sec. All right. And then usually I'll spritz it just to kind of express the oils over top and drop it straight in. And there is a rum old fashioned. Cheers. What's interesting about the rum old fashioned is when you first taste it, you get some of the orange notes from the orange bitters, and then if you have like a good orange that actually spritzes as well as this one did, you get those kind of like the orange notes from the oils, and then it fades into the Demerara rum, which is sweet. It's very good. It's very approachable. You could probably even go like the recipe I was looking at called for 2 dashes of Angostura and 2 dashes of orange. I feel like you could go 1 dash less for each, and it would probably be less orangey than this one currently is, but overall this is pretty good. It will obviously get more watered down once this cube dissolves, but that's why I recommend you use a big cube, because it will take a lot longer to dissolve. I love old fashions. They're really great cocktails. Some of my favorites are a regular old fashioned with bourbon. This one's really good. Oaxaca old fashions are amazing. Yeah, I'd recommend you give it a shot. As I said, try and maybe scale down the bitters a little bit. Do 2 ounces of a Demerara rum. I recommend El Dorado, but you don't have to get the 12-year. I know it's a little bit more expensive, but I'd say if you're gonna shoot for something, maybe try like the 8-year. The 5-year is also pretty good. And then a dash of Angostura bitters and a dash of orange bitters, and then just some Demerara simple syrup, which you can easily make. It's very simple. And then that's pretty much it. You just kind of stir it over ice and then add like an orange peel. It's good. It's a very good cocktail. It's interesting because when I wasn't initially planning on starting like a YouTube channel a year ago. I was kind of just making cocktails because I got bored. You know, I'd always liked making cocktails, but during COVID, there was really nothing else to do. So I kind of just made more cocktails and watched YouTube channels on how to make cocktails. And spent time working on like different recipes, and over time my liquor cabinet got bigger. It wasn't this big when I first started. It was far smaller, but when I was watching those videos, they had different liquors that they were trying that I'd never heard of, that I wanted to give a shot myself. And before I knew it, I had this, roughly this much shit. And I was making recipes, I was like posting them, and then I got recommended that or friends of mine recommended that I start recording them. And then this channel kind of morphed into what it is now. So yeah, it's been a wild ride. It's insane to think it's been this long. But I've enjoyed it so far. I mean, it's crazy, but I've also really loved the feedback. Everyone's been really nice. You know, I've really enjoyed it, and I intend to make a lot more videos. It might take me a little bit longer for each one, only because I need time to kind of go through stuff. Because I do weekly videos, it's not always easy for me to play a new video game or watch a new series. So sometimes I just need some time to kind of go through it to formulate an opinion on whether I can actually make a video based on it. Oops, dropped that. But yeah, it's been fun. I've enjoyed it, and I really intend to make more. I have a couple on the list that are coming up. I just have to write the scripts for them. But because I have like 6-hour flights between where I'm at now, where I'm going, I have some time to kind of work on the scripts. So I'm looking forward to it. Oh, it's a damn good cocktail. Okay. If there's any other recommendations, let me know. Otherwise, I'm going to make my favorite cocktail, which is just the standard old fashioned. And usually I would make it in this glass. I've already used it, so I gotta make do with a rocks glass. It is what it is. I'm gonna probably just stir this in here, which is my mixing glass. It's a little loud. The old fashioned is a template. There's a lot of ways to make it. There's a specific way that I like to make my old fashions. And sometimes when you go to a bar, they'll use a sugar cube. I don't like using one. I like using Demerara simple syrup. A lot sweeter. And it just, oh, that sounds great. With the sugar cube, it'll dissolve over time and it gets sweeter over time. I like it just being sweet from the very beginning. So there we go. This one is 2 ounces of bourbon, which I will always use a 100 proof bourbon. So this is Knob Creek small batch. It's 100 proof. If cost wasn't an issue, I'd probably use Four Roses single barrel because I like that the most. This is like $30-something, like $33, so it's a lot more economical. It's just as good. Then a 1/4 ounce of Demerara simple syrup. All right. And then lastly, 2 dashes of Angostura bitters. All right. I'm going to add some ice and then stir for 30 seconds, and I'm going to strain over some fresh ice. Actually, this is gonna fit. That'll fit. All right, this is what I'm gonna do. Just a little easier because I don't think some of these ice cubes have already stuck together. So I'm just going to pour this over top. I'll just stir it here. This is why I usually like using the double old-fashioned glass. It has a lot more volume. All right. So again, you're going to garnish it with a orange twist or orange peel. Put it over top, drop it in. And this is my old fashioned. Cheers. Yeah, this is a lot better. Depending on the bourbon that you pick, it's going to taste a little bit different. The Knob Creek tends to taste a lot more spicy, like bread spicy. It's good, but it's going to be different than something else like a Four Roses single barrel, which will, it's hard to describe. It's going to be a lot sweeter, but also still spicy. This is good though. I enjoy this cocktail a lot. Compared to a rum old fashioned, less sweet. Yeah, it's different. It's hard to describe unless you've tried it. Oh, this is still my favorite cocktail. All right. Yeah, I mean, obviously, if you guys have anything else you want me to make, let me know. This has been an amazing, process, kind of going through all this, and I'm really excited to keep going. I'm starting to get a little tired because I've made now 4 shots and 4 cocktails, and then I've drank some of that Irish whiskey. And shit, what time is it? It's 8 o'clock. Okay, I'm starting to get a little tired. And I know I'm gonna be up early tomorrow. So if there's anything else you guys want me to make, let me know. Otherwise, I'm probably gonna sign off. But again, thank you so much for supporting me up to now. I really appreciate it. And look forward to more videos. Initially my tolerance was increasing because I was drinking a lot more, which isn't good. I started kind of scaling back how much I drink. So it used to be I would drink like a cocktail a day. Sometimes because it wasn't just the fact of me drinking. I kind of just wanted to experiment and see what I could do. But it got to a point where I was like, I need to stop drinking so much. And even when I make my videos, I don't usually drink the whole cocktail because it's just, I can't drink that much. It's not that I don't have the ability to, it's just that it's not good for me to drink as much as I was before. So usually what I'll do is I'll have like a couple cocktails a week. And by that, I mean, I'll have them spread out. And then usually one day during the week, I'll kind of go a little bit crazy and have like 4 or 5 cocktails. It doesn't happen even every week. It's like over a couple weeks I'll do that. So the answer is yes, it was, but It's not as, my tolerance isn't as high as when I first started the channel. It's definitely lower than it was then, because I've tried to cut back on how much I drink. So when you look at me and I'm doing like videos and I'm doing like 3 cocktails in a video, just know I'm not drinking everything of the in that video. I'm usually taking enough to get some tasting notes and then dumping it out afterwards, because it's usually me recording on a Sunday and I can't get plastered on a Sunday. Any other questions? But again, thank you so much. Appreciate all the support. It's been crazy. Yeah, I can't believe I've already gone this far in a year. I didn't think I was. I thought when a year came, I was gonna be like kind of. I thought I was like, okay, I just hit 500 subs. I didn't think I'd be like close to 600 by this point. I wasn't even trying to like get a certain number of subs. It was just me like putting videos in. So thank you again. Appreciate all the support. Have a good night.